Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. We're working on a Camden Style Beach bag, but I've used a couple of my panels that I have from Northcott. That's the one right back there. I used three of them actually, two and a bit, and it made the bottom, okay, and the pieces right here, and of course I have three more to add to this section, okay, so you can check it out. And as I cut the pieces, I kind of flipped and flopped and used the white as a separator to kind of break it up a little bit to kind of make all the fun colors. So I am going to take this, once trimmed and I add the other three, going to trim this off, make a binding to it, and then same there, and then fold it. And then that's going to make us our little bag. Okay, and you can of course make it as tall as you like, as wide as you like. These are just the widths of fabric, and look how weird they are. They are literally just the widths of the fabric for these, and some are really even and some come way off on here. I don't know, it's just the fabric, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so we have a few more to do. I have two already here waiting for its third little counterpart to finish it up. That's part of my binding. Hopefully I didn't lose the other piece. Oh, there it is. Okay, and that's what I'm going to use to be put on the outside edges here. It's the same thing, okay? So I used two for the bag itself, to the construction of the bag, the circular part of the stuffed binding pieces. These are 2.5, and these I cut at 2. And then I used another half a piece for the bottom, and I used 2 layers of batting. You can see there's 2 layers of batting in there, and then I just did lots of crisscross, back and forth, followed the pattern, zigzagged, all sorts of fun, just to kind of stabilize it, make it nice and sturdy and thick. So yeah, isn't that beautiful? I really like that. And then that's just the bottom what I did, and I took another piece of the strip that was left over and then did a little binding all the way around. Okay, so that's our bottom of their bag already done, and I just used this handy dandy little takeout lid container to give me my nice little rounded edges. You totally could have squared this out. You could have made it rectangular. You could have done whatever you like. You could make it square. You know, make it oval, make it round. You know, that's your choice. This is what adds the flexibility to your design. You could make it so it looks like a heart. You have a bag that looks like a heart. All you have to do is follow this along to your bottom shape, and you got it, right? Hopefully it stays up towards the top. I might add a little bit of wire maybe to help frame that heart, but you know, that's just saying me. But yeah, isn't that beautiful? Just take a little rounded bowl, cup, I don't know, whatever you like, okay? All right, so let's do the last one here. It's very, very easy to do this, and it's a great way. If you have a bunch of leftover batting, this is a great way to use it, okay? I've managed to use quite a bit. I still have a big yellow bag back there full of stuff, so, you know, could probably make 3 or 4 bags. And you just kind of fold the one edge up a little bit, and the other edge up a little bit, okay? And then you're just gonna squish those two together, okay, like that. And then on this line right here, where these two come together, you're going to put a nice little straight stitch all the way down, okay? And that makes a nice little piece like that, all right? And use decorative thread. I've used light green, blue, white. I think that's what I've had so far in here, so far. But I mean, if you had a variegated thread, that would be fantastic. And of course, I just use a bit of white that I have as a color breaker in between the strips. Okay, and but I just wanted to add a little bit more depth to the bag as well, because I ended up adding what, 6 strips? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 extra strips to the creation of this bag. So. And I need me a beach bag, and I like me a very colorful beach bag because I love color. So that's what I decided to do. And I just cut the panel to get me the widest bit that I could, like just cutting the pieces, like I said, with the fabric. So that would give me a nice, like wide enough bag to go all the way around, you know. Now, of course, you could put pockets in this. I'd probably put maybe one on the inside, or just make another little carrier pouch with the stuff that you need in it, like so it's sand-proof or whatever, like a plastic bag, that sort of thing to protect your, you know, phone and keys and wallet and stuff. You know, most times your phone is your wallet anyways, with the little cases that they have now. So, you know, it almost seems pointless to carry two things, a phone and a wallet. But yeah, that would, and then just zipper that up or Velcro it or something that's going to help seal it and protect it. And you can stick that in the inside the bag too. Just tuck all those little threads in. Try and make sure you're, rolling those two edges in together, and you keep it as lined up and as level as possible. And don't rush. You'll get there in the end. Just take the time to, just fold the fabrics in, hold it steady, and then just guide it under the needle. Okay. It makes a very fun project, especially if you had a couple of, or you had some crazy fabric at home and you just don't know what to do with. This is a great way to use it up. Put another block color in between, make a bag out of it. Or make a knitting bowl. My first one, actually, the Camden bowl that we made, 2 years ago now, I guess. It's my knitting and crocheting bowl. So it sits on the side of my bed or my bedside table, and that's it. So I'll just keep this and put this off to another piece. I had a bunch, I just cut a bunch, so I didn't know what I was going to need. So this is the last one I needed for my set of 3 to add to the last of the bag. So it's going to make it a nice deep bag. Okay, and I was trying to keep the colors, of course, because it flips and flops. This is a centerpiece. You can see right there, that beautiful little center. That's probably the very centerpiece of the panel. So I need to, gauge what color is there and go. So, all right, we're going to add to this side. I was trying to get the orange and the purples and orange and the pinks and on one side with the yellows, and then another purple and pink and blue on the other side. Okay, so, and I was keeping them consistent. You see how I've got a rolled edge here and a folded over edge? I was keeping that together. So the next edge would be here, would be a double rolled edge and rolled edge and rolled edge all the way, just kind of, I didn't put 2 of the rounded edges together. I just kept it with a seam with a round edge, seam with a round edge, just to keep it consistent. Just, maybe I thought make a bit of a difference. I did find sewing a couple pieces together and attaching it to another piece was easier. I was getting a little bit of a curve, but the steam on your iron really helps manipulate that as well, right? So don't be afraid to use the steam to help get it to the way you want it to go. Okay. Oh, sorry. Back to zigzag, sorry. And I was going down to approximately like a 9.0, 9.5 on this one. And then I was making it pretty wide. I was trying to go like maybe 4 to make sure you're catching everything. The closer you have it together, the more thread you're going to use and the thicker it's going to feel. So you be the gauge on how you want your bag to go. Mine's more of a looser zigzag, but it still is keeping it all together. And of course, it makes it go a little bit faster, right? It depends on how thick you want that. Okay. And of course, the point is to make sure you're squishing them together and that the zig and the zag is getting the both pieces. And I find that it's easiest to try and aim for this little split right here. The one that's right here is when you push it together, aim for the center of your foot with that little split, and then hopefully that's getting both sides as the needle jumps to both sides of the machine, from the machine, like to both bits of fabric, okay? And then just gently, and then push them together. You're trying to make sure that both sections are getting sewn and nothing's getting missed. You may find you'll have a little hole here or there, but you can go back and fix that. Or it may just be convenient to put a little ring through it and that's where your keys get clipped on or something. Think about it. And then I have some nylon handle, like for handle bags, or for, I think it's called nylon webbing. I'll show you right here, okay? Show you in the small camera as well so you can get a good idea what that looks like. It's just webbing. So what I'm going to do is leave it flat on this end on the bag, but I'm actually going to fold the handle part where I'm actually going to carry it. I'm actually going to fold that in half and do a stitch down. So you can do a decorative stitch there. You could just use black thread. I think I'll just use white because, I don't care. Just black and white all over this bag. So, and I chose a black handle just in case, you know, obviously you're gonna get at the beach, you get dirty, and I just didn't want a white handle because then it's gonna look dirty all the time. So I thought, and I just used a bit of this black nylon webbing that I had. So, and it used up the chunk that I had. See, and those are all cut from the same piece. They all end up different sizes. I don't get it. It's very confusing to me. All right, so you can see there's a little bit of a curve to that. I was just doing some, you know, stretching and, you know, trying to manipulate. And of course, you can always get the steam involved, okay? All right, so let's move that over there. And we'll sew it to whichever side I want it to go on because I've got a white piece as the breakup in between, okay? So like, it doesn't matter which one I go on, just got to make sure the color is still flipping and flopping the same way I was hoping for, right? To give that color break up around the whole bag. And just add to the whole prettiness of it, you know? Like, why not? Okay, so let's move these two over here and over there. You saw how I did the bottom. It's very cool. Like I said, just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I used a bigger stitch. I think I used a base stitch and just went crazy, you know? And of course, you can do as many times as you like. That seemed to me two bits of batting, and I think that's pretty good. I may still have a little sag to my bottom on my bag, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so here and here. I'm going to lay it out to figure out which side I like best. Okay, so could have it there, or I could have it on the bottom. The bottom would go this way. I don't think it really matters. Okay, as long as I'm making sure, actually I'll put it over here, because then I know that my rounded edge is going to come right up against this two-folded edge. Oh, what do you want, Trouble? Hey? Hi. What you doing? Want to come say hi? No? Yes, no? Now's your chance. They haven't seen you in a while. You're always napping. We'll see. See if he wants to come up and say hello. Mr. Clive. All right, so line this up so you're not, this isn't shorter, so you're not lopping, you're trying to lop off more to even it out. So make sure you're positioning it so you can get a nice even cut on the lowest part of this, okay, which seems to be these guys right here, and then just start stitching, okay? Make sure you got your zigzag on. And this is attaching the last three to the main part of the bag, okay? And then from here, we'll trim the sides, add the binding, and then position it around this. Oh, I may have to load another bobbin. We'll see. Now remember to push them together because you want to make sure the zig and the zag is catching both bits of fabric. Okay. Like I said, and if you miss anything, you can always go back and do it again. I found this one was this way for doing the Camden because it's the straight pieces and you're sewing the straight pieces together is easier than trying to do the big rope and wrap around and wrap around and wrap around. So, but there's many different ways to get this way. Yeah, okay. Shush. Stop beeping at me. And of course, if you wanted a bigger bag, you'd have to make longer pieces, make longer strips, right? Okay. All right. So now it's the point of choosing which is the top. I kind of like this as the top of the color bit. I like to have the white added down around to here to kind of still break in that white before the color. So that's kind of what I like. So when I sew this together, I'll make sure that this white is down here and this nice colored edge up here is the top of my bag, okay? So let's give this a little steam and love just for a moment here and then we'll cut, okay? Let's do a little tweakings. Okay. And I found this to be a very fun and easy project just to kind of go, you know, pop on, Netflix, and away you go. Sing along to Beauty and the Beast. Okay, now we will get our nice big cutter. Okay, and our nice clean rotary cut blade. Because it's got some weebles and some wobbles on it, try and find a straight line and do the best you can. You know, okay. And like that's what I said, I am going to cover a little bit of this with binding, so I could use some of this white, the salvage edge from the beginning of the panel, but we'll see. We'll see what we got going on here. Want to make a nice even cut as possible. Trying to utilize as much fabric as possible. Okay. You may have to use twice. Okay, and all these little bits and bobs can go somewhere else. Okay, now flip again. Here. Now put this at 0. Nice flat-ish. Kinda. And do the same to the next side. Okay. Now we got to come back a little bit here because this one's the shortest one right there. Okay, so that's at 40. Right. Make sure you got a nice straight line. Press hard. There we go. Those are all out of the way. Okay, now we take that little bit of binding that we had strips left over. Got a nice big enough piece here for it. We're going to fold under the edge a little bit. And then fold it like that, and then put it on like we'd normally put any sort of binding on. We're just going to sew straight down here and then flip to the other side. So you can pick which side you like. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Let me just put a pin here so I don't lose my fold over while I'm going to sit at the machine. I'll grab my other piece, and we'll do the same to the other side. Okay, folding the edge over just a smidge, maybe, you know, quarter. Fold it in half, and then pin it. Okay. I'll do it so they're all both facing to the next side. It doesn't matter. I think at this point it's going to look good no matter what. So you can, but if you had say directional fabric, or you had a pattern that happened to be coming out on the one side more than the other, you could still make this as a reversible bag, right? Just have to flip it. Okay, you get up over here. Now get this under here. Straight stitch. And because it's a little thick, sometimes you may want to change your needle. If you got really a lot of thickness going on, I'd change maybe to a denim needle, because you've got batting, layers of batting, and then layers of fabric that you're going through, okay? I'll go all the way down, making sure it's folded, keeping that folded edge right up against this top edge, okay? And of course I could have used white, I could use black, I could have used anything. Okay, now where's my scissors? Oh, there we go. As I get close to this side, I want to do the same as what I did on the top side, so I'm going to have to trim it. Okay, but I want to get a little closer first, so I don't lose that fold. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to come about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch more than what the top of my bag or bottom of my bag is. Fold under. Whatever's going to make you equal to the top. Okay, so you're going to have to gauge that. All right. Line that up. Perfect. Oh. Think we need a new Bobby. There we go. Actually, where's the any more of the green one? Well, maybe not. It's okay. All right, so that's one side done, and then we'll just flip it and stitch it. Okay, let's do that right now while we're here. And like I said, decorative stitch at this point if you want to, multicolored thread, whatever. This is where you can use the crazy threads, right? Because they're just going to get, one's going to get overlap the other and then stitch down. Okay, and then folding that up, because everybody's got a nice rounded edge, and no, there's no raw edges. Put that all the way up. I think you can put buttons on it. I think if you found some seashell buttons, that would be awesome. That would be pretty fun. Okay, so actually I've got the bottom already pinned on. Oh, we'll do it the right way. We'll do it the right way. Okay, so unpin that, line that up. This is the other side. Okay, now move the rest of that up here. I love how much color there is in it. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Certainly another way to bust your scraps. If you know, a couple of strips of each color, that's all you need. Okay, wait till I get a little closer, and then I'm gonna trim this extra piece here. You can see how big that is. So I'm not gonna struggle with any fold. I don't want a tiny fold. I want enough that it's not gonna, those raw edges are not gonna pop back out again. Okay, lay it flat. I know it's a little difficult with my fingers back here, but you know, squish it up a little bit more. You know, this is fabric. I'm the boss. Okay, there we go. And then a black stitch. Okay, there we go. Put those pieces off to the, you know, the scrappy bin. Okay, and then again, folding that little flap over to the top. To the front side, back side, whatever kind of side, and stitch down. Okay, hold on. There's a little fluffies in here. There we go. A little corner fluff was sticking out to the point I couldn't get my green wrapped all the way around. Okay, come here, you. And then just fold over, seal up all those raw edges, and finish off the main part of the bag. Okay. And then right all the way down to the bottom. All right, perfect. Now, this is where we, like I said, we can overlap whichever way we like. Seems like a deep bag. That's good. It's going to hold some of my beach towels and stuff. Fantastic. Okay, so now we get to put the bottom on. Now, you can do this many different ways. You can hand stitch it, and you can clip it with your little clips, or you can just start at one edge here, knowing the other piece is going to overlap, and you just do some zigzags to get those two pieces together all the way around. Or you can, you know, flip it right now, sew it, line it up, and then pin it and stitch it, okay? I just want to make sure everybody's going to be in the pool first here with these trimmings. I probably should have waited for my bottom to come up.
You wanted the white line at the bottom.
Okay, I will. Thanks. Thanks. I just want to make sure we're going to have enough to wrap around here. Hold on, you stay there. And you stay there. Yeah, be just. So if it's just going to be just, I could actually sew this right now. From here to here, right down there, hopefully underneath the machine there. And then we can just sew it as a big loop. Take the little tray off. I'm not sure what I want to do first. Oh, decisions. And what do I want for the bottom? I really like that. So do I want to see that on the every time I look at the inside? Decisions. Of course, you want the overlapping to be more in the middle of the bag. Okay, so I like that. Just gonna put a little pin in there. Thanks for reminding me about the bottom there, Munchkin. Okay, and put, ow, don't put the pin in you, put the pin in the fabric. And worst off, don't bleed on your project. Touching the white, I didn't want to have a little blood stain on there because I did poke myself pretty good. All right, now let's go here to there. Trying to even this out a little bit. Try and find center points, you know, center points and the roundness, and you know, get them all equally portioned the best you can. Okay, just pop some pins in here. And this is going to overlap just a little bit. Now that's up to you. You can have big overlap, little overlap, depending on what size of bag you're making, right? So, and I'm going to try and even these two up here on the bottom, and then just put a pin there and sideways. Where'd it go? Oh, it's way over here. Don't worry about it. You're going to bump the lamp. Okay, now shift this a little bit. I'm trying to just pin it so it's sitting nice and even in my curve. And of course you can't see that, and I'm terribly sorry that you can't see what I'm trying to do here. But before I go stitching around, oops, I don't need a safety pin. You can of course even do this all by hand. If you want a nice hand stitch project, this would be a really good one for that, for sure. Okay. Here. Okay. Just trying to get the curves in, trying to find the flat spots, get them pinned together. And of course it's thick, okay? You got some thickness that you have to deal with here. But it does make a pretty awesome looking bag. Okay. And I know I've showed how to sew the bottom to a bag before, because that's also in the Camden bowl that we did. Okay, but there, at least you get the idea. And then we pin the top. Okay. And this is where the awesome decorative buttons and stuff all come into play. Okay, and then we put our little strapping. Of course, you can have it crisscross. You can have it going this way, this side here, or even on the inside. And then, like I said, I'm going to make the handles right in the center. I'm going to pinch that. I'm going to go like, find the center and go like 5 inches on either side of that. Do a little mark with the pins here. That one. That one. Then I'm going to fold over and stitch in between. Try and pin one at a time, and I'm pinning both of them. There we go, managed to get that. Okay. And then what I do in between those two pins, I'm just going to pinch it and sew right down. Okay, except that one fell out. Sometimes you have good days, and some days you got bad days, and some days you're just holding on. Okay, so we'll do that. And it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters what color thread you put it in. I mean, it's totally up to you. Just do a little back stitch. And to me, that's a nice thick handle to grip and lug your stuff down to the beach or off to grandma's house or whatever. You know, could be the car bag, right? So, I mean, if you felt that it was too tall, you can always just do a little rollover, do a little decorative rollover on it, right? Make a little cuff on it. So, okay. And then this, with the handle like that, like I said, either outside or inside, and then away they go off to the bag. Off to the races we go. I think that's going to look awesome. All right, let's sew. Let's get this first here. Try in. I'm not sure how we can. We have to do this sideways instead of in between. I think actually that's going to be a better idea. Let's just try and sew around the outside edge here, or inside edge, depending on how you look at it, right? Line up that little pin bit better, because we got to go all the way around the corners, right? And we don't want anything too crazy. We get enough of that on our own. Or is it just me? Okay, it does take a bit of pinning, clipping, or whatever it is you want to, how you got to maneuver it all in there. But yes, it is a bit tedious. There we go. It's a bit better on that corner there too. Okay. Just trying to smooth it out on these curved corners here, so it just looks a little better. Tuck that there, move that just a little bit. Try and tuck that in. Okay. I think we got it pretty good. Okay. Now I'm just going to start at one straight spot, not a curved spot, and just try and my best. I'll keep a nice straight stitch and try and include the bottom and the side of the bag. Okay. I am going to do a little back stitch. Slow down the pedal pressure a little bit, making sure I've got these two overlapping at the bottom here. Okay. Now that may be a really thick spot coming up here, like right here, between all this, that's a lot going on. So try and make sure your rolled over edge for the side of your bag and this rolled over edge are not on top of each other. They're just next to each other, even a ½ inch space in between or something, because I think that might be just a little bit too much for your machine to handle. Okay, and now go slow. And then say a little prayer. Okay, then come all the way around again. So now you're coming to the curve. You're just gonna want to lift the foot, manipulate the fabric, okay, and then down, move the pin, ow. Never said it wasn't painful. Being creative is painful. You may have to kind of like a little bit tug on this side and a little push on this side to make sure everybody's going through, okay? So a little manipulation may be necessary. Let the fabric know who's the boss. And try not to sew over any pins. I know that can be very difficult, especially when you're trying to manipulate and maneuver and shift. Okay, there we go. Straighten that out a bit. Oh, it's lovely. It's coming along just great. And hopefully you make a bag in a unique way. I'd love to see a very unique shape. I've got one like this. Actually, I just took a sheet of fabric and I triple battinged it and then just sewed lines right down it. And I like it. It's actually what I usually take back and forth to guild meetings. So, and it's reversible. Got some orange on one side and some flowers or something on the other side. Alright, I'm going to just shift everybody around. You have to lift the foot and manipulate the fabric again. We're almost back to where we started. Just got this last little curve here to do. Okay. Come here. Like I said, if you missed anybody, you can always go back and catch the stitch. Almost. Just coming around the corner. Okay, all right. All right, there is our bottom. Bottom is on the bag, okay? You can see that. It looks good. Like I said, if you want this can be your inside, and you flip it. It's completely up to you, okay? So now I know I can't get this under here, but I probably can get at least a little bit of the ways to stitch this down. So let's try. Okay, come up at the top. It's very similar to the bottom, but if you wanted a wider bottom and a narrower top or whatever, this is another place where you can play manipulate. You want a little bit smaller, want a little bit wider, then go right to the edge to edge. Move those little things right beside each other, and that'll give you the optimal amount of space for your bag. Okay, it's up to you. You have whatever coverage you like. Just make sure the other one was getting in there. Come here, you. All right, here, do a little back. Make sure I wasn't getting anybody else in the pool there. Okay. Almost there. And that's actually quite some depth. I was actually quite surprised I could get that all in here. Now you can still buttons, decorative buttons, alphabets, whatever, library bag. If it's your library bag, I think it'd be fantastic with an alphabet on it, okay? Awesome. There we go. And like I said, if you want to roll down, make it so it's hip and cool or happening or whatever, or even put an elastic in this part, you know, give it maybe a little bit of stretch or a little, you know, it's up to you. You know, it's up to you. I kind of like a little bit of a fold over. I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it the way it is. Okay. It's going to be a nice deep bag, okay? And then you've got color all the way around and all on the inside too. It looks beautiful. Okay, so we'll take that and I'll pin one handle and you get what's going on here. Find the middle, stretch this out. So it's approximately, what, 19 inches? Yep, okay. So what's half of 19? 8. So if we go 8, 8's on one side. You could always just come in like 4 inches on one side and 4 inches on the other, and then that's keeping it nice and even. Okay. Of course, then it doesn't matter which way you have your, actually I think I would put the stuff that you've actually folded over and stitched down back to the front of the machine, in front of the bag, okay? So.
It's 9.5.
Okay, 9.5. 8 and 8 is 16. Apologize. Thanks, Munchkin. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where we're going. And of course, depending on the length of your handle, how you want it to sit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pin. Okay, there's that side. And then you can make sure you're lining up the other side once you get your stuff all sewn. So it was at half, and then I sewed 5 on either side, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here and here. Okay, so there's another pin section for the middle of the handles for this bag. get that done. Oops. I saw that fall. All right, there. Now we will do the same on this side here, the opposite side. Making sure we have our folded edge down. Line it up with the one that's already there. Put a pin in. Okay. Line it up with the one that's there. So we get it nice and even. That's not even. There we go. And that will be our finished bag. And of course you can stitch that down any way you like. It's a nice long one. It's going to take me places. I think it's beautiful. And that is our Camden Style Beach bag made out of Northcott colored panels. All right, so take care everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. And we will see you tomorrow on the live stream. Have a great day everybody. Take care. Hope you go to the beach. I know I will be with my new bag.